So, I'm going to draw a conclusion here under what I've assessed over the last 4 years that I've owned this horse, and the 4 years prior to me owning him. So he's 8 years old here, and you've seen me put a few videos up on different times of the year. So one thing I'm going to tell you right now, this horse was captured as a foal. Okay, and then he was adopted. He was kept with 3 other Mustang foals. See, this is a big problem when they capture these Mustang foals. They take them away from their social structure, you know. It's a big mistake. There's a lot of learning that goes on with these horses in the years of living, you know, with older horses, mixed genders. See, this is a big mistake that the BLM does, is they separate by gender and age. So like I said, the other factor is he lived with 2 other Mustang foals that were captured. So even when he was adopted, he was never turned out with older horses until he actually came to my place. So he was already 4 years old. And because of the facts of, I've told you before, that this horse will actually get this laminitic, almost foundered state even in the dead of winter when he's on a strict hay diet. So from what I've seen in over the years, because it happens at different times of the year, is that he is eating some kind of plant that is toxic to him. So I'm going to tell you what's gone over, because you didn't see the last time I trimmed them. Even though I did videotape it, I never put it up. I didn't like the way I explained some of the things in it. But anyways, he's been out on grass now for, well, since the last video that you've seen. So I'm going to guess that's somewhere around 8 weeks. So I pulled him out of shoes because we're headed out of here. We're going to Idaho. We're getting out of Vermont permanently. So this will probably be the last hoof video you get to see from me for a while. Maybe for a long time. I have no idea what's going to happen after I hit Idaho. Anyways, no increased inflammation, even though he's been out on the grass pasture. Really no hay at all, because the hay farmers around here, nobody around me has dropped a square bale on the ground yet. And here it is, the second week of August. It's been extremely wet and they're having a hard time haying. So I've been out of hay for close to 8 weeks. So he's been on a limited pasture. You know, I've kept the pasture cut, and he's out there with another horse. So it's not like he's on a lot of pasture, but he's surviving on a grass diet, and there's no new inflammation. So I'm going to take you down below, and I'm going to show you exactly that his foot is not advanced forward at all. And that's primarily from keeping him in shoes, keeping the foot underneath him, and the fact that there's no new inflammation. So he still has to grow out what the remaining inflammation, which is probably about an inch or so, inch and a quarter. So I'll take you down below. Alright, so here's exactly what it looks like after I pulled the shoe. And I'm going to go around and make some assessments. You know, so this is just the back side of my knife, got a hook on it. I'm going to scratch this out. And then I'm going to check down along the apex of the frog. So I can see when I scratch it that, you know, that there's some depth there. So see, there's still a dirt line here. Just going to taper the apex of the frog up a little bit. There. Same thing on this side. I've already hit it there, but you can see this is cracking in this bar, so I'm just going to taper that down to where I've already cut. Scratch this off here so I know where my live sole is. Same thing over here. So if I just scratch this a little bit, scratch that chalkiness a little bit, you can see his front to back growth is pretty decent. It's not quite as much in the front as it is behind, but it's all pretty decent. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to trim them now. But I want you to see where the front of his foot is and where that shoe was sitting right there, right here. And without even let's see, let me grab my marker. Before I even put the gauge on it, like I said, I can just tell where that circle is without using it. I use that for you people out there and some of my customers. But there's the front edge. There's the front edge of his circle. And see, that's where the shoe was sitting. So this really hasn't advanced forward, and there's no increased inflammation here. So I'm going to go in and trim that back now. Alright, so here we go. Going to come in, grab that bar a little bit. Let my nipper slide up there and cut that off. And you'll see that I'm cutting almost the same amount of hoof from front to back. A little bit more in the back, but and like I said before, because this frog is peeking out, what I'm going to do is just cut the peak off it. Scratch that bar. So I'm gonna show you now, measurement wise, how that pans out from where my mark is there. So I'm going to use two different gauges here. I'm going to use that ring gauge, and I set it for the width of his hoof. Put it right back here where it exits the collateral groove exits here. And here's the front of the ring, and here's the mark I put. See? So his base of support is underneath him where it should be, and it hasn't gone anywhere. The other one I'm going to use is this tool. It's a T-square that I made up. You know, I showed it to you in another video. You bump it up against the heel bulbs. The ruler is offset from the center of the square, and to the front edge of that red line, 5.5 inches. See, his foot, his base of support, has stayed the same. So he's going to stay out of shoes now because we're going to be in transport, and So I'll break this front edge off right at the front of that red line, and that's where he's at. You know, his concavity is kind of mediocre. It's not as deep as I'd like to see, but it's not terrible bad. So that's the conclusion I've come up with. I'll see you later. Hopefully from Idaho. So in conclusion, we'll see what happens once he gets out west. At least he'll be back in either the same environment or similar environment to where he was captured. I'm not sure what area he was captured in, but it certainly wasn't in the east anywhere. So being in a whole new environment, he's going to have different types of vegetation out there, and hopefully whatever he is that's eating that's toxic to him here isn't growing out there. Time will tell. So you learn to make observations, and you assess every horse as an individual. You know, just because he's laminitic doesn't mean it's the grass, because he's been on grass. So pay attention. Be a good nurse.